Batman the Animated Series gave us many great characters and duos, but none more enjoyable than the Joker and Harley Quinn. One classic episode featuring this pair is the episode Harlequinade. I always loved the two of them for their little quirks and details in both vocals and the animation. One really great quick little gag Joker had was his Red Baron appearance when he popped up out of the plane hatch near the end. I thought it'd be fun to have that specific frame in my collection and added him to my to-do list. To complete the pair, I'll show you a fully cel-shaded color variant of Harley from that same closing scene. Let's make both of them right now. I really love this moment from Joker when he throws the scarf over his shoulder and tips his head back with eyes closed as he motions to go forward. Since I wanted to recreate that exact bit, I thought a bust would be a nice addition to the shelf. With that in mind, I wouldn't want to use just a torso and have spare legs, so there isn't an actual recipe here as I built the torso from scratch. How did I do that? I've seen and heard of many masters throughout time using foil armatures to sculpt statues, and I thought it was time I gave it a try. It really is as easy and straightforward as it sounds too. Ball up some foil and then pull out a piece from the left and then one from the right to form his arms. I have a Joker figure for reference in the pose I wanted to recreate so I can scale him correctly. Oh, I didn't mention my plan for his head yet. I noticed that this head from the Joker expression set would work very well if I simply closed his eyes. The last thing we'll need is one of the Joker's actual hands, and we'll end up closing it to look more like it's pointing later. We'll start out by making a copy of that expression's Joker head since it's not easy to come by. I figured since I'll be closing his eyes anyway, it doesn't have to be a 100% perfect copy. I'm using my amazing mold putty to make his mold. His first attempt wasn't great because the nose didn't turn out since I pushed the whole ball in at once. A tip for making this kind of head copy: focus on small, finer details first, like ears and noses, with small pieces of epoxy, and then add the main bigger portions after those. This will ensure all details get molded properly. While that sets, we can start the epoxy coverage on the torso. I'll start with the front and then move to the back. Next, cover the arm with epoxy but leave room for an extension to insert the hand in later. Add his collar details one lapel at a time, and then add more height to his neck if you didn't quite do enough the first time. Next, add the coat detail of his closed zipper down the front. Add some more to the back of the coat collar for more of that classic Joker hunch. Then we can add his gloves and cuffs. Here we can insert the hand, but then pull it back out to retain the articulation at the wrist. Now we can move to dremeling to refine our sculpt. First, I'll dremel the pupils off his eyes so we close them. Then take all of his hair off since he wears that leather cap with the goggles. Dremel any body portions that didn't come out right on his torso, and then clean up his sleeves and glove cuffs. With the head all prepped, we can add on the aforementioned leather hat. Now for the thrifty portion of this video. Do you remember my Dr. Harleen Quinzel making of video where I mentioned using bits of plastic from a gum container I had? Linked above if you haven't seen it. Guess what? You can use even more of that same lid for the base of this bust. We'll need to add more bits and pieces to it for the other details, but this will work great. Back to sculpting. There's one major detail we haven't done yet, that wonderful scarf he throws over his shoulder. Flatten some epoxy out, wrap it around like a real scarf, and then trim the length as needed. Nice! Test fit the head to make sure we're still good with the added height from the scarf now, and then we can finish out his head details. With the hat done, it's time to add on his goggles, with a strap going all the way around. For the guns, I have these old paintbrush sticks that I'll use and then add epoxy to the backs of them. Now let's jump into painting. Red Baron Joker's colors consist of slight variations on his classic orange and purple, then brown for the hat, and black, white, and red for his face. I started his purple coat with this color, but then fairly quickly realized it needed to be desaturated. I go into a little more detail on paint mixing in my Battle Damage Legacy Superman video, linked above, but essentially add gray to a color to pull its saturation or richness down. That's looking better. The glove cuff is still looking a little big, so I'll Dremel that down again. For the hand going into that glove, let's heat it up, tuck the bottom 3 fingers and thumb in, and try to straighten the index finger as much as possible. Run it under cold water while you do that, and it should stay relatively close to that position now. Glue it in place for extra security and you should be good. Paint the new purpley gray coat, then follow it with the tan on his gloves. Paint his traditional orange undershirt, and then his lighter orange scarf. Paint his base white face, brown leather hat, black facial details, and goggle strap. His lips need to obviously go red, and then we can add and clean up his face details. Clean up the lines around the leather hat, and then add the same tan from his gloves onto his goggles. Getting back to the details on his base, Dremel the additions we made to the gun turrets, and then add a couple of disc-type shapes on top. Find a curved piece of plastic to use for the rail, glue that on, and then prime the whole thing gray. I used gray this time instead of clear dull coat since the turrets are gray. All I needed to do then was paint the base purple and voila, all done. That's one down, now onto Harley's repaint. As with Joker, there's no full-on recipe segment here since she's just a full BTAS Harley Quinn repaint. Start out with some Tester's dull coat to prime her and then pick out some matching paint colors from the scene. I probably should have cast her head like I did with Joker since she too is from a rare expressions pack, but I didn't. Anyway, all of her blacks go orange, her reds go peach, and then she has a yellow for her whites. That's really it. Repaint all the colors as assigned and clean up any transition points. Truth be told, I'm actually planning to use her for this classic scene from the episode Trial, and I'll be devoting a whole shelf dubbed my Trial by Fire shelf. For more on my full collection plans, check out the video link up top after this. For her trial appearance, I may end up painting a lot of black shadow onto this one, but that's for a future update and she pairs perfectly with this Joker for now. All done, and that's 2. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. Drop a like if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more monthly content like this and occasional shorts featuring tips or additional customs. Go ahead and leave any questions or requests for future characters in the comments below. Follow me on Instagram if you want to see more customs like these and all of my latest work. Join me next month as we'll be celebrating the 20th anniversary of part of the incredible close to the best story arc in the DCAU, the Cadmus arc. I'll show you how I made my Question figure and the perfect adversary for him from the episode The Question Authority, Cadmus Business Suit Lex. Check out the rest of my catalog of videos while you wait for that next one. Have a good one, and happy customizing!